Alright, people have lost their minds. People have become unbelievably credulous and gullible, and they have been made that way through an insane social justice narrative. I am having trouble coming to any other conclusion. I watched the entire 2-hour video of the Covington student situation, and not once did I hear anyone say, chant, or sing, "Build the wall," with the exception of the black Israelites who, besides babbling about incoherent nonsense, were saying utterly horrible things at these kids. The N-word, the F-word, the homophobic slur, you know, all the words that if I said on my channel, YouTube would take me down by the end of the day. Yet there are very well-known people within the political realm claiming this is what they were saying, or at least alluding to it. Amy Siskind, this lady right here, has 339,000 followers on Twitter. She tweeted, "I'm confused because the Covington boys' defense seems to be when they surrounded Nathan Phillips," by the way, that absolutely never happened, which is as clear as day if you just watch the entire video, they were chanting their school song. Is their school song, quote, "Build that wall," end quote? Okay, so she tweets this, and she is supposed to be a big-time author and activist. She's attempting to construct a complete fabrication of what never occurred. Before I saw the 2-hour video, and all I saw was this photo, I thought, well, maybe there's something to this. Maybe these kids were acting crazy. And when I read the comments about this situation, I expected to hear vitriolic, racist insanity coming from these kids. Then I watched the video and saw none of that. I just saw Nathan Phillips approach these kids, worm his way into the crowd, pick out this one kid, and then proceed to slowly close the gap between him and the teen while banging his drum, eventually banging the drum in the kid's ear. Then after I watched the 2-hour video, I thought to myself, well, that's the end of that, right? It's clear as day that these kids didn't do anything wrong. They were the ones being heckled by the black Israelites. They were the ones having terrible words thrown at them. And not only that, when the black Israelites were hurling around homophobic slurs, it was the teens that had an immediate negative reaction to that. And they were saying, hey, whoa, let's calm down. And they were the ones who made it clear they thought that kind of language was inappropriate and over the top. I have yet to hear anyone from CNN or MSNBC point that out. I've yet to see people like Amy Siskind praise those kids for showing their strong disapproval of homophobic language. Instead, you get the complete opposite of what actually occurred, which is these kids actually acting pretty respectful and pretty calm. And in fact, if the mainstream media and the Amy Siskinds of the world don't immediately start to backpedal their erroneous rhetoric, they are responsible for anything that happens to those kids. Because of the slander they have received, the school and these kids have received all sorts of threats, including death threats, to the point where police vehicles are now patrolling the school. If one shot, punch, or brick gets thrown at these kids, the responsibility for that is directly at the feet of the media. They were the ones who began reaching for conclusions before any of the facts were known. They were the ones who slandered these kids before anything outside of a 2-minute video was seen. They were the ones who labeled them racist for just merely standing around. It comes to a point where it's just too obvious that the media is desperate to tar and feather people like these teenagers with every buzzword at their disposal. They have got the itchiest trigger fingers I have ever seen when it comes to this kind of stuff. Although I will say this, it was a pundit on Good Morning America, I think, that said that a lot of lessons can be learned from this, and one of the lessons is for the media. That they might want to actually engage in a fact-finding mission before they start to spout off. Well, I think that's a good idea, but if they don't, then hopefully they'll dissolve and be a thing of the past. And I like the idea of that too. But all in all, this was a group of 50 or so teenage boys waiting for their bus, being heckled by an insane group of religious nutbags, having horrible words thrown at them, and for a bunch of teenage kids, they actually remained pretty respectful and calm, all things considered. Especially when a guy they don't know comes up to them and starts beating a drum in one of the kids' ears. I know a thing or two about being a teenager, and I cannot say in full confidence that I would have reacted any different, if not worse. But that's it for now. Like and subscribe if you're into that kind of thing. Later on.